Born and bred in Christchurch. Fun, very average Kiwi family, mum, dad, 3 kids. Grew up initially in Shirley, then Wellington for a few years. I studied at University of Canterbury and then did Teachers College and became a high school English teacher. Callum's been coming to Heathcote since he was a teenager, and he'd said when we got together, so if you don't want to live in Heathcote, that's it, we're splitting now. And so Heathcote it was. We used to live in a tiny cottage across the road and had always looked across the road at the old villa, needed some TLC, but it's our forever house. We just love it and we love the community that it's in. Prior to the earthquakes, there was a group of us who'd been in the planning stages for a community garden in Heathcote. We'd been wanting one for a long time and we'd found a spot in behind the local church, and we'd negotiated with them, and we're just in the planning phases when the earthquake hit. About 250 metres up the road at the school was the seismometer that recorded the 2.2 G vertical ground force. So the valley was shaken, it really was. A lot of rockfall, there's a lot of red zone in Heathcote along Bridle Path Road, and the community was really knocked about. Within the first few weeks we were meeting down at the village hall, looking at how we respond to this, how do we connect with people, how do we get water to people who are living in their houses who don't have transport. The Heathcote Village project grew from there. A very informal group, a huge amount of support work in the community. I'd been a volunteer librarian at the local library for a couple of years. Really believe in it as a space for the community, and we've been asking the council for a long time post-quake. When are you going to get it fixed? When do we have a report? When did we get a time frame? And then all of a sudden there was a demolition order on it. Where did that come from? And so I had a pile of papers released from council which showed that someone had asked Sara to assess it and then chosen not to respond to Sara within the statutory 10 days, which triggered a demolition order so that the insurance could be triggered and used somewhere else in the city. And we were gutted as a community. I organised a protest on a Sunday night. It was very much a Heathcote style protest. People brought along deck chairs, they brought along books, lots of kids turned up, and we read books for an hour. By Tuesday morning we were presenting at council, and the councillors themselves were cross that that decision had been made by staff, and so ring-fenced the insurance proceeds for the rebuild of a new facility in Heathcote. It set a really strong precedent, and so other volunteer libraries like the Redcliffs Library then came to council and had their money ring-fenced as well. There's $400,000 there, and so now Heathcote's just about to start the rebuild of its combined volunteer library and community centre, which is going to be very cool. Someone tapped me on the shoulder and said, well, why don't you stand? Having gone through the process of looking at all those papers and working out the system and what went wrong, I was like, actually, I can do this. It's kind of an old-fashioned public service kind of ethos, I guess. I attended a couple of meetings that Nikki Wagner held in Victoria Square for public and said to her that I'd really like to be involved. And so I was invited to be on the community reference group for Victoria Square and then asked to be chair of that. And our job as the reference group was to make sure that the very strong community's opinion that came through, which was don't touch our square, was what happened. The council really needs councillors in there who live in and are really connected and understand their wards, and making sure that community voice comes through. Looking at transport for the city, there's a real opportunity there to make a really big difference with public transport. What I'd really like to see is my kids and their kids growing up in a city that's really future focused, it's really sustainable. When communities are directly affected by something, they should be able to make decisions on it.